It's a Guy forward now to Richarlison, the score of the opening goal. Coleman's cross is knocked away and knocked out for a throw-in as we await the two substitutions that Chelsea are seemingly making now, and it is going to be Ross Barkley off, and it will be Ruben Loftus-Cheek to replace him. Barkley applauding the fans on the sideline. I think it's a mixed reception he's getting from the home fans, and that might be being very kind to the former Everton man who after 65 minutes goes off. Loftus-Cheek coming on in his place, probably just give a little bit more power in terms of the running forward, and it is Gonzalo Higuain to come off and Olivier Giroud to come on, and those are probably two of the most predictable changes we could have thought of.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you'd have got a good reaction, Barkley, from the home fans. If you are an Evertonian, then you're supposed to play for them if you're good enough. And even expect more off you, don't they? His shot comes in from Richarlison, that's sliced away. So I think the fact that he's gone to pastures new, went down like a cup of cold sick at Goodison. And by the way, good use of the word spawning, which I've not heard since childhood.
Yeah, I'll try and increase my vocabulary during this commentary. Ross Barkley, it was one of the strangest signings last January that was made by Antonio Conte. He brought him to the club, which at the time, in my view, looked more just to boost the quota of English players more than anything. He hardly played under Conte, but has got his chance with Maurizio Sarri. But how long he'll be at the club remains to be seen. It's still very much a turbulent club to manage, and anything less than perfection is adjudged to be not good enough by Roman Abramovich, and he is very trigger happy when he wants to be. It's been a successful formula for the club, but it looks like it could be something that might come soon. Well,
new manager comes in, you never know, do you? Like we said, they've got a squad of about 43 at the minute, and they've got about 43 players out on loan. So getting in the first 11 is no mean feat, and at the minute I don't think that Ross Barkley deserves his first team shirt, quite frankly. He's not playing terribly, he just isn't playing that well. I'm not sure that 5 or 6 out of 10 a week, and probably 5 today, cuts it really for a team like Chelsea.
No, it certainly doesn't. You need to be affecting things, and just being okay and just doing enough isn't enough for a club that are fighting, particularly for the top 4. Well, in reaction to that, Everton are going to make their first change of the game. Andre Gomez, he's on a yellow card, he's coming off, and Morgan Schneiderlin coming on in his place. A bit more defensively minded, and a sensible change from Marco Silva.
Well, Gomez, though, will be hard to replace. I thought he played quite well, and Schneiderlin, I think yesterday's man for me, but must be keeping himself fit and keeping himself going in training. But I think they've just traded down, quite frankly.
Chelsea just trying to up the tempo slightly at Goodison Park. It still remains Everton 1, Chelsea 0. They had a really good chance when David Luiz played a raking ball forward. It was N'Golo Kante, the furthest man forward. He led it off for Gonzalo Higuain to strike the ball first time. A very good save by Jordan Pickford. We've seen a booking apiece, Gomez and Rudiger going into the referee's notebook, and a few changes as well. Quite predictable from Chelsea. Loftus-Cheek and Giroud on for Barkley and Giroud like for like. Everton have also brought off Gomez on the booking and put Morgan Schneiderlin on in his place. Everton 1, Chelsea 0.
Hazard just lays the ball off too far for Pedro, having a fight. Hazard playing more centrally, it seems. Sarri looks furious, trying to get a message out, or is he, I don't know who he's screaming at there. I'm not sure anybody's listening to him, quite frankly. Anyway, Everton 1, Chelsea 0. And after the first half, it's hard to believe, really. Just looked in that spell, passage of play, that Chelsea were going to go on and win it if they repeated the dose the first half. But Everton came out like gangbusters after the break, and well, they've certainly deserved the lead that they've got in this second half, at least. They could have been dead and buried by now, but they're not. And actually, it'll be their first win against the top six in, what was it, 26 games?
Yeah, it was January 2017, the last time they managed such a feat. An awful record against the more established sides in the division, and it really would be an impressive win as they collect the ball on the far side now, but just held up slightly as the ball is played back inside, although it's a good turn by Gylfi Sigurdsson. Gets it out now for Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin looks to dink a ball to the back post for Richarlison. Idrissa Gueye has come to meet it, trying to strike it towards goal. Well defended against by Loftus-Cheek, who buys the throw-in off the Everton man. Well, we're at the three-quarter-way stage of the game. Can Chelsea get back into it? It'll be John to take us through to full-time.
When we looked at the stats after the first half, it suggested that Chelsea had been 3 times as effective, 3 times more shots and on target. This second half, looking at the stats, Everton have had 6 shots to the 3 of Chelsea. So, the tables have turned. It's now Everton who are the dominant force, and they've kept it going nicely since they grabbed a goal. One thing scoring, but they haven't retreated and just decided to accept it and try and defend it. And then now Seamus Coleman makes a drive into the box. He goes, he just loses his balance at the right time. Richarlison goes down in the box. Referee thinks pointed to the spot, and it looks like it's a penalty kick there, and Richarlison has scored one, seemingly now created one. He was caught late in the box. It didn't look that obvious. Let's take another look. He nicks the ball away from Marcus Alonso, leaves a leg there. It's borderline. Yeah,
it's one of those where you look at Marcus Alonso and you think, why have you left the leg dangling? But then from Everton's point of view, it looks like Richarlison has dangled his own leg there in front of Alonso and bought the penalty. I mean, depending on how much of a cynic you are, you think that might be a bit of a manufactured penalty.
I think Anthony Taylor in a good position there. I would have given it. I think it looks like one, and there's definite contact. I think Alonso stood on him. Anyway, Sigurdsson now an opportunity. Can he beat Kepa Arrizabalaga? Up he steps, and it's the save by the keeper. The rebound comes back out, and he finishes that one off, and it is Everton 2, Chelsea 0.
Everton have doubled their advantage, and it's come from the penalty spot. It was Richarlison that made his way into the box on the right-hand side. Marcus Alonso dangled the foot out, and Richarlison accepted the gift to go down. One of those borderline calls. It was Sigurdsson that stepped up. His initial penalty was saved well by Arrizabalaga. Not a good spot kick, but quite luckily it came back to the Iceland international, who then tapped it into an empty net. Everton 2, Chelsea 0.
We take another look, and we just look at how clumsy Alonso was. And again, I can't help but think it was a penalty. Now the penalty kick, saved by Kepa. Talk about following it in. And for Chelsea, they had 5 or 6 players following that ball into the box, but would you believe it? The only place that Kepa could have put that for the rebound to go in is where he eventually palmed it out to. That's bad luck, isn't it, from Kepa? And it wasn't a great penalty kick in the first place, but he coolly slotted the rebound. That makes it 2 as Chelsea now try and come forward. Yeremina slides in and does well.
Yeah, it was one of those where we saw his fair share of unlucky goalkeeping yesterday with Swansea. I mean, the penalty that Aguero scored actually turned into an own goal, and one of those where it was just a double deflection off his own legs, and it was an absolute gift for Sigurdsson, because had that not fallen to him, would have been absolutely castigating and saying what a rotten penalty it was, because it didn't have any pace on it, it wasn't close enough to the corner. But you buy your own luck, I suppose, in this game, and Chelsea need to come back, and it looks like they're getting Hudson-Odoi ready.
Yeah, they're going for broke, aren't they, as they're trying to work their way through. A little flick there by Loftus-Cheek, but he can't find Giroud. So Everton 2, Chelsea 0. I don't quite even know how this has come to this, really. They were comfortable, aren't they? So Hudson-Odoi on for Jorginho, as they absolutely go for broke. Now, we were talking about him in midweek. He creates and he scores goals. He's not just one of these fancy wingers you bring on and hope for the best. He's got end product, hasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly does, whether that is scoring or assisting goals. Such a talent for Chelsea, and in my view, it's games like these, I think, where he should be playing from the start, because the likes of Pedro, you look at them and you think, have you really got much more to give, as Chelsea try and come forward now with Kante. But Hudson-Odoi is a player that usually does make an impact off the bench.
He does, but they've got to find him, and Alonso's ball sells him short down that left-hand side, and Seamus now going a mazy run over the halfway line, and then he flicks it off Alonso and has won his side of throw. At one point I thought Seamus was the best right back in the division. I think injuries and a bit of age have robbed him maybe of that, but that was brilliant from him. Just relieved the pressure and win a throw for his side.
Yeah, it was that broken leg he picked up on Island GT against Wales that's kind of robbed him of the last few years of his career, really. Doesn't look like the same sort, but a few glimpses there of the brilliant player he was in his heyday.
Absolutely. Anyway, he's got a throw now. Seamus down the right hand side. A brilliant servant to Everton Football Club. And now he drives the byline. He gets the byline. He can get the cut back. He does. Finds Richarlison. Shot comes in. Big deflection. And in the end, well, did that go out for a corner, or did he just chip it straight into the hands of Kepa there? That was a strange passage of play, wasn't it? You know, Richarlison's shot seemed to deflect back out to Seamus, who must have been offside, and the ball somehow ended up in the hands of the keeper. I don't quite work out what happened there, but here comes Chelsea forward now. Eden Hazard at the edge of the area, finds N'Golo Kante. They got the overlap. Cross comes in way too deep, but he finds Hudson-Odoi. He's at the byline now, held up by Idrissa Gana Gueye. Cutback looks good for Eden Hazard. Shot comes in, blocked away by Keane. Well, there's another half shout for a penalty kick there, as Kante is trying to control the ball, and he may or may not have hit the defender there, but Chelsea come forward again. It's all been waved away by Anthony Taylor. Here come Chelsea down the right hand side. Good cross in, too close to Pickford, who takes it away from Giroud. Yeah, good play all around, really. I mean, we talked about Hudson-Odoi talking him up, and that's exactly why he received the ball on the near side. And a lot of wingers would maybe try a few step overs, but he got his head up and found Eden Hazard, who was in space. Michael Keane with some great block defending to get that one out, but the relentless pressure still came from Chelsea before the cross was floated in. And I think Pickford's had a decent game today. He came in and claimed that, didn't do anything too fancy, back to basics, and caught the ball. Yeah, he sure did. But there's plenty of time for a big change around in this game. Chelsea are a good team, and they're hard at it right now. And they've got a lot of attacking intent, as Hazard is brought down the middle of the park, wins a quick free kick. Again, it's another effort from Richarlison, who has he not got a yellow card yet? I feel he's treading a fine line. Phil Walcott's going to come on now, and that will be for Bernard, who I don't think we could argue has played well, but I've seen a bit more of the ball attacking in the second half. You know, once they competed in midfield, it just allowed him a bit of a foothold in the game, didn't it? Yeah, it definitely did, and I think with Bernard, he's a player that will take time to adapt to this level. He's got such a small, slight figure on him that often he can go missing in games, but there's no question that with the ball at feet, he is a talented player, and Theo Walcott coming on will just provide that extra bit of pace on the counter-attack, because we know Chelsea are going to start throwing bodies forward. Yeah, it's weird with Bernard. I've seen him play in Europe. A lot of those pitches in Europe are artificial pitches, you know, and I think on true ground